elementary school kids right now who came to school the other day and talked about, just a little brawl that a couple of them got into, and the next thing you know, there's 3 or 4 adults who are bringing weapons to the situation and saying things like, you're going to let this kid, get in your face. These are things that some of the kids I work with every day have to decide how to handle.
That's Karen Peters. She plays the role of mediator, coach, and therapist with children and their families in South Boston. When I asked her about what most gratified her about her work, she had this to say.
The most rewarding thing is when this mom then says, okay, you know what? Because I've had the opportunity to think about this stuff with your help, or even just by you being there, meaning me, I'm now recognizing that if things are gonna change for my family, I have to shift my perspective, and I got to find the motivation within myself to make my house safe, and I have to bring strategies into my house because I can't control what happens outside.
Karen earns a modest salary. Despite this norm within the social service industry, she remains committed to paying off her student loan debt, which surpasses $100,000. She began borrowing money as an undergraduate in the late 90s.
Well, my parents are divorced, and my mom was not in a place to support me financially, for much more than spending money or, the occasional phone bill that wasn't paid, or some books. My dad was able to provide a modest contribution, but they with me decided that I would have to take out some loans, and I knew that it was going to be my responsibility. So I knew that going to a 4-year university was going to result in me owing some money.
Karen chose to attend a private school that initially seemed a reasonable expense.
In my first year was that I was eligible for the Pell Grant and some scholarship money, which made the first year of college relatively affordable. Didn't realize how dramatically the increase would be going into my second year, and how much eligibility I was reduced from between my first year and my second year.
Eventually, she earned a master's in social work from American University, a school where she found both the pedagogy and social work practice to be ideal and pragmatic. She attributes her competence and confidence as a clinician in part to her training. Still, she borrowed more money to study, and her hefty student loan debt lingers.
I think about this debt all the time. It keeps me up at night thinking about this because there's things that I can and can't do because I know that if I'm late on my loan payment, that is going to impact my ability to get a mortgage for a house someday. You're eligible. You can request to defer your loans, as long as you provide a reason. And I wasn't on the phone with this woman for a minute when I told her what my annual salary was, and she said, "Oh, well, you're eligible for an economic hardship." And I said, "So let me ask you a question. How do you expect people to pay these off if you're going to keep giving out these economic hardship deferments? Because while you're helping me in the short term, I'm delaying the inevitable." And her answer to me was, "Well, why'd you go back to school?" And I was like, "Yeah, you're right. That's a good question. I feel like I should be able to figure this out. I should be a lot smarter, And there's no incentives in terms of I wasn't eligible for any incentive around, automatic debit of your payments. And previously, when I was with Sallie Mae, I was eligible if I enrolled in their automatic draft. Then I was eligible for some ridiculously low, 0.5% on the interest reduction. But I think things like that, good payer incentives, because it teaches good practices, would be things that I would be interested in. I mean, I recognize that I made the choice to sign the papers. I got myself into this debt because I believe that I wanted to keep learning. I just bought a new coat a couple of weeks ago because I just moved to Boston from D.C. and I didn't have a reasonable winter coat, and I say no to a lot of things because I can't afford it. And it's not like I'm living a lavish lifestyle where I have Manolo Blahniks or, I'm, have a car that, I mean, I have a 10-year-old car that my grandfather gave me when he died. I don't have a brand new car or anything like that. I say these things to myself, like, it's not like I have this lavish freaking lifestyle. It's not like I'm buying $15 lipstick, like, why is it so hard, and it makes me angry, and I get really upset about it. 2 years ago, when I was in graduate school, I didn't have health insurance, and I'm a pretty healthy person, but I was feeling really sick in a way that I'd never felt sick before, and I was, the worst thing you can ever do, this is off topic, is like go on like WebMD, because they'll basically tell you have like everything terminal, and which is what I did, and freaked myself out to the point where I went to the emergency room, and I could not believe it. It was, I'm still paying this off 2 years ago, to go into the emergency room, have somebody see me for about 10 minutes, and then give me, probably the equivalent of Pepto-Bismol, was almost $3,000.
Do you think that you think about within your work the plight of others more than your own financial plight?
Sometimes, if I see a mom and I recognize, based on things that she told me or things that we discussed, that she's not going to have any money until she gets her check, and in a couple of days, I've definitely found ways to like get a gift card for a grocery store because it feels important.
Do you think that the families you work with, the folks you work with, have any idea of how much financial anxiety you have in your own life?
No, I don't.
Why do you think that is?
Because it's not their problem, and it's my issue.
I mean, here's the basic deal. Until Americans start living longer, we have no right to criticize somebody else's healthcare system. Statistically, we live shorter than people in Canada, people in England, people in Italy, people in France. Yet, we spend at least twice what I know England does, or Canada. But we spend significantly more than anybody, yet we don't live as long. When we start living longer, we can make fun of their systems. Until that, we should start looking at their systems and saying, how can we learn? But we don't.
People that look at their systems and criticize those systems say, yes, but look at all the debt they have. Look at how broke they are.
What debt?
That the Canadian healthcare system, people have to wait, and that there's this huge deficit.
I keep going back to the fundamental fact, they live longer. They live longer. When they start dying sooner, I'll say, oh, that wait for the chemodialysis, or the wait for renal dialysis, or the wait for chemotherapy. Oh, that wait must have been killing them. That's a bad system up there. When they start dying sooner than we do, then you can cast stones. Until that point in time, you can't make fun of them. Patrick Burnett, assistant professor, healthcare finance here at Florida Atlantic University. Most of my research has to do with hospital finance, public health finance, and a lot with hospital efficiency, both in this country and in other countries as well. The thing about healthcare in this country is you've got to remember, it's private. They're in there to make money. Insurance companies are there to make money. Hospitals are there to make money. Doctors are there to make money. They're all there to make money. That's what they do.
And that will never change.
I don't see either one of the administrations coming and changing that. Here's the fundamental problem. People balk at socialism. People say it's bad. People make fun of Canada. And the problem is the people in this country who vote actually have social insurance. Old people have socialized medicine. They think they have their choice, and they do, but it's everybody else who's paying for it.
So you're saying we have socialized medicine
for old people,
for older people, that's subsidized by those that pay for it.
The funding is so quote unquote. The funding is, you would look at it as socialized. The delivery is still private. But the problem is old people like that, and they vote. Until young people start voting, that system isn't going to change.
So thinking of young people, what's the problem when 30% of our undergraduates don't have health insurance? 25% of our undergraduates over 35 don't have health insurance.
Right.
That doesn't include those that don't
people
graduate.
who have bachelors, you're saying?
Yes, that have bachelors.
Yeah.
Not including dropouts or people that have to leave for whatever reason.
It's not a problem. It's not a problem for the healthcare system.
Why is that?
because chances are you pay, or nothing happens to you, in which case you never needed anything, so you never showed up to not pay them.